What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Am I feeling okay? Back-to-back videos. It's not been a week.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, no one understands. It's pretty ridiculous. Thank you for picking up on that. It's time for career mode, episode number 52 for the Singapore Grand Prix. We're ready to get into it, but my game's not ready. Nice. Failure to install the mod. Every time there's an update, it breaks my game. So that's always fun to deal with. Anyway, while I was modding the game, I thought I'd mod my face in. So here we go. We are accurately represented in this career mode. We love to see it. I'll leave a link to the mod down in the description. Pretty cool. You can see all of the YouTube lads in there. So give it a go if you want to have my ugly mug representing your driver. Anyway, not that much to do in terms of resource points. We've got 3.8k now. Not too much to do in terms of facilities either. Upgrading Senna's analysis suite will help his experience. That's about the only useful thing we can do now at this point. We did get Spec 3 on the durability side now, so we can open up those final upgrades. But since we're pretty much at the race weekend itself, I'm actually going to wait until we get into Friday practice to get the discounts going, and then I'll chuck the upgrades on. And it looks like they'll be pretty sizable upgrades. I saw some failure analysis for pretty much all components, so that actually could be very useful. Anyway, time for the race weekend itself, the Singapore Grand Prix. No real change at the top of the order. Looks like AlphaTauri, though, making massive gains towards the top 5 teams. So look at that absolute massive golfing performance between us and the rest. AlphaTauri looks like they might be joining the fray soon, or they're kind of in no man's land at the moment, but in a couple of episodes time they might be okay. But it's going to be a very interesting end to the season to see who's going to save the most upgrades heading into Season 4 with a regulation change. Anyway, time for practice, and I'm running the oldest engine you can imagine in this car. Pretty much looked like I was having an engine failure right around the circuit, but it was absolutely fine. 1 second off in Friday practice. That was with an engine change factored in as well. Big chunk of points. Pace was pretty decent, all things considered. So heading into qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix, I think the form is going to be pretty good. Oh my lord, I thought I looked ugly without a helmet. Turns out I look worse with one on. So, it's time for qualifying Singapore Grand Prix. We are easing off the tyre pressures because I was struggling for temp issues in Friday practice on the soft compound tyre. Shock horror, once again we're getting blocked by our fellow competitors. You absolutely love to see that. He's got the red light blinking as well. There's no excuse. He's either come out of the pit lane on this lap or he's going back to the pit lane at the end of this one. Absolute twat. Get in the bin. You deserve all of the blocking right now. That pisses me off so much. Nothing pisses me off more than AI getting in the way when they don't need to. But thankfully, we got through qualifying 1 fairly fine. I did a lap straight after the Vettel one, so the tyres were a little bit worn. It wasn't ideal. I actually think the AI as well did some pretty suspect times at the end of the session, which demoted us down further than what I would have hoped. We'll move into Q2 now, where I think we've got pretty good pace. We're on the medium compound tyre, and I think we can get into Q3 with the pace deficit of this tyre. So if we can start the race on the medium, I think it'll be a great shout for race strategy in the Grand Prix itself. The soft isn't a good race tyre. You probably don't want to run that at all. I might even consider going medium hards in this race, such as the struggle for tyre temps. You can see 103 degrees on the right rear tyre. Even though we've lessened off the tyre pressures, P5 at the end of that run, that should be good enough to get us through to the next session. 2 minutes remaining. Don't have the fuel to carry on for another run. So we are just going to basically cruise back to the pit lane, look after the tyre wear, because we will be starting the race on these tyres. And come the end of the session, well, the AI did some more naughty times. Very, very naughty. I will be doing my best to mitigate that in Q3. For those who don't know, you fast forward time at the end of the session, or the AI do times without you looking. So if you're in a cutscene or whatever after the black screen, they do silly times. So what I've done in Q3 is I've literally sat in the pit lane for the entirety of this session, waited for 2 or 3 minutes to go. Everyone's going to go out and do their run first. I'm going to do my run right at the death here. To be honest, I've got nothing to lose because I was P10 in Q2. So essentially here, I'm just going for one glory run. Right at the end of the session, we're driving out and then we're driving back into the pit lane because that stops the AI from doing stupid times. So here we go. We are doing one run on one brand new set of soft compound tires, which won't get used for the race. This is the free set we get from the FIA. The time to beat is a 1:31.5. I believe we did a 31.6 or 31.7 in Q1, Q2. So I think we are in the conversation for pole position. We just need to nail this qualifying lap. We do have the best car, and this is a good track for the player. I love this place. Got a good affinity for it. And, well, I think the car's going to work really well here. So here we go, through the middle sector now, using up the full width of the circuit, right up against the barrier there. Every millimeter, every centimeter you can gain or use up is lap time. Mounting the curb there. Don't want to mount it too much, otherwise that induces a bit of floor damage, on sim damage through to this hairpin. A little bit slow on the power there. Rotation wasn't too good either. Sometimes the car is a little bit weird sometimes. I can't really put my finger on it. Last time out, it was amazing. But sometimes, going into some slow-speed corners, the car just understeers massively, and I have no explanation for it. But anyway, through the third sector now. And this is where the car is actually quite strong, provided you can keep the tyres in the right window. We seem to be doing that so far. 101 degrees on the right rear tyre. It looks pretty safe for now. Up to the line, or up to the wall there on the right-hand side. This is the last corner. Almost flat out in 6th gear, open the DRS, up to the line, and I think we might have got pole position.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Did we get pole position? That is the question. Yes is the answer. By under a tenth to Carlos Sainz and Senna, unfortunately missing out on the front 2 rows of the grid, gets P5. My championship rival, though, Max Verstappen, just over a tenth behind us in the Red Bull. Very, very close, actually, for a 90-second lap time and a million other corners to negotiate on this circuit. To be separated by that much is actually pretty darn close. I'll take that. Pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix. That's only our second pole position in the entirety of this career mode, and I couldn't tell you where the other pole came from. Probably a wet session. Anyway, time for the race.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Benjamin lines up on pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Senna, Vettel, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Are you alright, Crofty? You only listed about 7 drivers. Is that all that's taking part today? I guess so. Anyway, welcome guys to the grid of the Singapore Grand Prix. It is a rare sight to not see any cars in front of us as we get this Grand Prix underway. Nice to see my old pal Harry Jacks there. Noble 2909 on the wheel cover. Perhaps engineering the car for me this weekend. It must be making all the difference. In terms of race strategy, we are starting on the medium compound tyre. We're going to run extremely long in this stint. Whether it be the hard or the soft that we use at the end, the medium is the tyre to be on. And we want to stay out extra long because we want to overcut all the slower drivers in the midfield, lower midfield, who are going to stay out long. People who stop early in this race are possibly dooming themselves to a bad result. We've seen it so many times over the years. Let's hope they're not affected today. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Singapore Grand Prix for Season 3. Looks like an okay start. Not too bad when you consider they are on the faster tyre. Easier to get away on that tyre. Signs up the inside into Turn 1. I suspect he might have had a little corner cut there at the apex of Turn 1. He came out of nowhere. Anyway, side by side, trying to maintain the lead on the Ferrari. As he goes round the outside, we leave him plenty of space. But he doesn't take it. P2 for Sainz. Leclerc next in third. Verstappen has dropped to fifth by virtue of Perez getting away quite nicely. My teammate Ayrton Senna, as you saw on the grid rundown, very far down the order. Not very helpful. I hope he's on medium compound tyres, because if he's on the soft, he's almost dooming himself to an entire race worth of traffic. Anyway, halfway through the first lap, and we're looking... Well, I was going to say fairly comfortable. That low-speed corner at the hairpin was not favourable for us. The rotation sometimes in this car is so strange. I turn in normally, and there's just half the downforce or half the grip I normally have on the front end. It's... I can't tell you what I'm doing wrong. It's not tyre temperature related. I'm constantly checking the tyre temps to make sure they're okay, but it's not the case. It's just random understeer sometimes. So if you guys are in this situation where you're deep into career mode, tell me if you have any ideas about how to fix this, because this is pretty ridiculous. I really don't know what it could be. Am I introducing too much slip angle too quickly? I honestly don't know. Anyway, fast up of the Grand Prix. That will be quickly eclipsed by Carlos Sainz, who's trying to go the inside into Turn 1. We leave him the space. Oh my goodness. That was a little too close for comfort. We'll have to get a replay of that up in a second, but yeah, Sainz getting very close to the DRS. He's actually managing to stick closely through the last corner, which is setting up that move into Turn 1. You can see at the moment I'm not driving well. Well, that's kind of intentional, because we want to keep the soft compound tyre runners backed up closer to the medium runners further down the order. We are backing off a little bit, looking after the tyres, because we want to run possibly the soft at the end of the Grand Prix. And this actually helps us twofold, because if we hold up these soft compound runners, when they come to pit, they're actually going to emerge well behind all the slower cars, and that's going to hold them up. Particularly, this is the reason why we're doing this is for Verstappen. If we can back up Verstappen into some heavy traffic after this stint, then that'll help us massively. We've got the likes of Valtteri Bottas, who did qualify inside the top 10. He was on mediums, or started P10. There's a few people who have the potential to overcut Verstappen, especially looking at his pace now. 4 seconds back. Doesn't look like he's got the pace to run with us. So at this point now that we've realized Verstappen is a bit slow, we're going to try and bolt away now, because the Ferraris are going to be coming in any time. Oh, they're in now. So we didn't want one of the Ferraris to get hung out to dry and overcut. So I decided to go for it. And the Ferraris, to a degree, have managed to come with me. And Verstappen is into the pit lane. He's got a front wing change. Verstappen has hit a wall somewhere or hit someone along in that first stint, perhaps explaining the lack of pace in that early stage. So Verstappen in the mud, almost got overtaken by my teammate in the pit lane. So Verstappen is looking like he's on the edge of the top 10 now. He's been pushed that far back. Carlos Sainz now responding on the next lap, as is Sergio Perez. Pierre Gasly in the mix as well. It's a weird old race that's unfolding now in front of our eyes. Bottas second, Tsunoda, Armstrong and Latifi rounding out the top 5. These are the people who are going to hopefully defend like a lion for the rest of the Grand Prix, holding these guys up. Look at now the Haas is getting in the way of the effective race leaders. The McLarens 3 wide into that corner. It was actually 4 wide on the start-finish straight, just gone by. But now it's pit stop time for me. We are, though, going to completely ignore that response from Jeff, and we're going to carry on as long as the tyres feel good, as long as they are delivering good pace, because right now, all of our rivals, look at the minimap, they're getting held up massively by the likes of the Williams, the AlphaTauris, and beyond. It's actually pretty ridiculous. We might be able to pull out a few seconds here over the course of the next few laps until they decide to make their pit stops, and it will be soon, because Bottas is now boxed from his set of mediums, which he started the race on. So we're making the most of this free air at the moment. And it's only going to open up opportunities later for us, provided there's no safety cars, as Lance Stroll is out of the Grand Prix. Looks like an engine failure to me. Pretty standard stuff, really. But fortunately for us, actually, no intervention of the safety car. Valtteri Bottas, you'll notice he's in P3. He was 10th at the start of the race. He's overcut 7 people. That's how much time he's lost by virtue of the front runners having to overtake slower cars. It's actually quite difficult to overtake at Singapore. The DRS zones are pretty short. And, well, they've all been caught out. They've lost the best part of, I want to say, 10 to 15 seconds compared to me, staying out long, even on my older tyres. Bottas now going for the lead of the Grand Prix. He's got fresh medium tyres versus Leclerc on older mediums, because he stopped that much earlier from the soft, to the point where Bottas is now best of the rest. So the medium strategy has been really effective, and it's been, I guess, made worse by the AI stopping early and just getting caught up in so much traffic. And they've got to take pain again, those soft compound runners, the likes of Leclerc, Hamilton, etc., because they need to stop again. I'm not sure they have the tyre wear numbers to get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. So Bottas is going to be head and shoulders clear of everyone else for P2, and I think I'm going to be a long way clear of Valtteri Bottas for the race win. We're getting to the point where we can box for softs now, but I'm just holding off because I have a feeling Bottas might stop again. Oh, he has to stop again, and I think he's going to use soft compound tyres. So I want to get the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and we are waiting until now. Bottas is now on the soft. I'll see what time he does on those softs, but he's actually lapping really quickly, as is Leclerc on his final set of tyres. He's made his last stop, and the AI have caught me by about 10 seconds, approximately, since they made their stop, which is fair enough because I've done 29, make that 30 laps on this set of medium compound tyres. Yes, this race has gone that quickly. There hasn't been that much to show you, to be honest. I've just been in my own zone, running my own race, being consistent. We got the warning for getting disqualified to change the tyres. We're doing that now so that we can do one last final lap on the softs on the next lap. So here we go. This is essentially going to be a qualifying run. We've got 2.5 laps of fuel on board. Brand new tyres. Dare I say, we might actually be able to do a faster lap than what we did in qualifying for pole position. I can't remember what the time is, but the track is that much more gripped up than what it was yesterday in Saturday qualifying. So here we go, last lap of the Grand Prix. Absolutely bringing it home now. 24 seconds to Charles Leclerc in P2. You can see Valtteri Bottas very close to the Ferrari, so he might be half a chance to go for that P2. He does have the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Tyre temps, absolutely not an issue. So maybe I should have put these tyres on a little bit early, but I really wanted to hammer this home for the fastest lap for the points. Because the points, the extra point, could prove crucial, given how far back we are from Max Verstappen in this driver's standings. I didn't care about how much we won the race by. We could have won the race by an extra 10, 15 seconds, maybe, if we stopped really early to make the most of these soft compound tyres. But it might have come at the fastest lap, and I want maximum points out of this race, hence the really wacky strategy. Anyway, it's been a pretty solid lap. Maybe 1 or 2 corners which could have been improved. We're up by 2.5 seconds on our previous best. This is well and truly a qualifying run. It has been an utterly dominant display, not helped by the fact that the AI did a 2-stop today and got held up in heavy traffic. That has been the difference. The AI lost at least 20 seconds with the extra pit stop, and then another 5 or 10 seconds with the traffic. We've got extremely lucky today, but we've had the pace to back it up.
You worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
What a great race it's been then. Another classic Singapore Grand Prix, and they've held on to take the checkered flag here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
Benjamin Daly gets his mug on top of the podium. It must be the good luck charm. There we go. P1 in the Singapore Grand Prix. I want to see what that fastest lap was and compare it to the old qualifying time, but that is a pretty deserved podium for those guys. Invalidated lap time. I didn't get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I got it by like 3 seconds. Because I got the lap taken off me. I got the point taken off of me because I had a minor infringement on one corner. Definitely didn't cost me 3 seconds. More like it gained me 0.03 of a second. No more than 0.3. I mean, yeah, that's a tenth. Let's say a tenth. Anyway, the gap is now 40 points in the driver's standings. That was a pretty comprehensive victory. I mean, I did say I got lucky. The AI kind of threw it away themselves. They certainly had the pace today. They lost a lot of time doing the extra stop and then getting caught up with other cars. I was under pressure in the opening laps. I think I probably overestimated how much I said I was like holding back in that race, because I really wasn't holding back that much. I was just short shifting and using higher gears at times. I really didn't have to do that much backing up because Science was on me and overtaking me at points. So yeah, the AI really dropped the ball today. We got the full W. We got the 25 points. I don't think Max Verstappen got in the points today. Such is the disaster that was today's race. Got caught up in that first incident, front wing loss, and then had to change the wing, dropped further behind traffic, and was never able to really dig himself out of trouble after that first stint. Same said for my teammate as well. I said he should have been on mediums. Started on softs and stayed in traffic all day long. It really pays to be out on your own on a circuit like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you appreciate the back-to-back career mode upload days, especially Singapore, the longest Grand Prix of the season. We did our best to get through it as quickly as we did. But there we go. We move on to the next Grand Prix. I think it's the Japanese Grand Prix next. Going to be a strong track for the AI because of all the high-speed corners. So we've got to keep our wits about us. What is that? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.